Hello and welcome to the Deep Dive.
We are diving into a fantastic story today on English Uncut.
Our mission here is clear. It is to help you gain knowledge quickly and thoroughly. Not just about the story itself, but about the specific practical English language used inside of it.
We are analyzing useful, real-life English scenarios, making absolutely sure you walk away with immediate, valuable language tools that you can use today.
Before we begin this deep exploration, I want to ask you something.
Do you believe that hard work and determination can truly change your life?
We are about to look at a story that answers that very question with a resounding yes.
And if you find this content helpful, please do us a quick favor.
Take a moment right now to like this deep dive, subscribe to the English Uncut channel, and of course, share this lesson with your family and friends.
This ensures you never miss a valuable lesson in practical English.
Joining me today to guide us through this linguistic landscape is our expert instructor.
It is a pleasure to be here. I am really looking forward to exploring this narrative with our listeners. We will proceed slowly and clearly, making certain that every word and phrase we discuss is immediately useful in your daily conversations.
With a heavy focus on accurate pronunciation and real-world application.
That is the goal.
Today we are exploring the powerful story called Nothing is Free. It follows the inspiring journey of a young man named Leo.
We are using this narrative as a perfect source for analyzing functional English.
Our goal is simple, but I think vital. We will focus on practical phrases that you can use in your own life, and we will make sure every single word is pronounced clearly and correctly.
Let us begin.
Let us begin with the foundation of the story. This is Leo's dream and the reality of his financial struggle.
So I want you to imagine a small, quiet town. It is surrounded by green fields and mountains.
This is where we meet a young man named Leo. He's 20 years old, and he holds big dreams. He did not just want a job.
No, he wanted to own a chain of restaurants. He was absolutely determined to become a successful entrepreneur.
Leo's ambition is clear from the start, but we also see the reality of his family situation, which immediately introduces our first crucial point of language analysis.
We learn about his family. His father, Mark, worked as a mechanic. His mother, Claire, cleaned houses.
And his younger sister, Sophie, was just 10 years old, and the story says she looked up to him as her hero.
Right. And despite all their hard work and Leo's great ambition, the sources make it very clear that life was financially very difficult for them. The family was struggling financially.
That is the first crucial phrase we must break down. Struggling financially. It sounds very formal and accurate.
It is an excellent, sophisticated, and professional phrase for describing economic hardship.
Let us analyze the components of it.
Okay, so the word struggling is the present participle of the verb to struggle.
Which means to have difficulty, to contend with a challenge.
Or to exert great effort to achieve something. Here, it signifies the difficulty they were experiencing.
And the second word, the adverb financially.
Precisely. The adverb financially modifies the verb struggling. It relates directly to money, finances, and economic matters.
So it describes how they were struggling, not physically, but with money.
Exactly. Therefore, when you say struggling financially, you are stating clearly and, importantly, politely, that the management or acquisition of money is difficult.
This phrasing is much more professional than saying, we have no money, or, we are broke.
Absolutely. It is suitable for business discussions, academic conversations, or even for sharing personal hardship in a more formal setting.
That distinction is so important for our learners. Can you give us a few examples of how we might use this phrase, maybe outside of just describing a family?
Certainly. This phrase is incredibly versatile. You can apply it to many situations.
Okay.
For example, you might say, the small shop has been struggling financially ever since the new mall opened last year.
Got it.
Or, if you were talking about an entire region, after the storm destroyed the crops, the entire farming community began struggling financially.
That makes perfect sense.
Even in a sentence focused on a single person. She decided to take a second job because she was struggling financially to pay her tuition fees. You see how it clearly communicates the problem without sounding overly dramatic.
It does. It is very clear. And let us focus on the pronunciation one more time because it is a longer phrase.
You must be clear here.
Right.
So say it slowly with me. Struggling. That is 3 syllables. And then financially, 4 syllables.
Financially.
Listen closely to the stress on the second syllable of financially. So, struggling financially. Mastering that pronunciation gives immediate credibility to your English.
Now, tied closely to the struggle is what Leo's parents were doing. Specifically, his mother, Claire, who cleaned houses to make ends meet.
Ah, another great one.
Okay, let us unpack this.
Right.
What exactly does this idiom mean, to make ends meet?
To make ends meet is one of the most common, fundamental, and important financial idioms you will encounter in English. Its meaning is very specific.
And what is that?
It means earning just enough money, and often just barely enough money, to cover your essential basic expenses.
So we are talking about things like rent, utilities, food, the necessary bills.
Exactly. It sounds like survival, not wealth accumulation.
Right. You are not saving money. You are simply ensuring your income and your required expenses are, well, equal.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. Imagine the two ends of a rope, one representing your income and the other your expenses. They are just barely touching or meeting.
So their entire focus is on covering the essential requirements of life, nothing more.
Correct. And we use this phrase constantly in everyday American English. It is not overly formal, but it is very clear and descriptive.
Let's practice it.
Okay. Listen and repeat the full phrase slowly with me. To make ends meet. It is important to pronounce the S in ends clearly.
To make ends meet.
Then we can use this phrase in various tenses, for instance, in the past tense. When my father was young, he worked nights and weekends to make ends meet.
Or in the future.
Good question. In the future, or conditional tense, you could say, if they lose their health insurance, they will find it almost impossible to make ends meet.
I see.
And here's one more. Many people in the city work multiple jobs to make ends meet because the cost of living is so high. It is just a vital phrase for discussing economic reality.
The pressure of this situation, it led to a moment of deep introspection for Leo.
Yes. One cold evening, he sat outside staring at the stars, and he whispered to himself, I want to give my family a better life. But how do I start when we barely have enough to survive?
Let us look at the wording here, specifically that one word, barely.
The word barely is critical. It is an adverb of degree, and it highlights the severity of their financial position.
It means almost not or only just.
Exactly. If they barely have enough, they are right at the financial edge.
It signifies a very, very small margin.
It does. It suggests that something is achieved or maintained with great difficulty. If you barely survive, you are extremely close to not surviving at all. It indicates scarcity and struggle.
Can we use it in other contexts?
Oh, absolutely. We could use barely when discussing time, difficulty, or quantity. For instance, with time. We barely made it to the train station before the doors closed.
Right, you almost missed it.
Precisely. Or, related to difficulty. The car was so old that it barely climbed the steep hill.
And what about with money, like in the story?
Well, a good example would be the recent bonus money barely covered the overdue electricity bill. It communicates a struggle with minimal resources.
And the pronunciation.
It is straightforward, but important to be clear. Barely. 2 clear syllables.
That deep sense of frustration leads Leo to seek counsel from his father. The next day, Leo shared his big dreams with Mark.
And Mark provided the central, powerful theme of the entire story in one concise quote.
He said, Leo, dreams are not free. If you want something, you have to fight for it. Start with what you have, even if it is small.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
The lesson of fighting for a dream.
Let us dedicate some time to the linguistic power of that first sentence. Dreams are not free.
It is so direct.
It is a clear, direct, assertive statement. Grammatically, it is simple, a subject, a verb, and a complement. But it is profoundly meaningful.
It is almost like a negative definition.
It is. It establishes that pursuing a dream requires a cost. That cost is effort, time, resources, and sacrifice. It is the direct opposite of receiving something as a gift or just passively waiting for it.
The message is that effort is mandatory.
It is. And the required action is immediately spelled out. You have to fight for it.
The word fight here is used metaphorically, of course.
In this powerful declaration, yes. The word fight is used in a classic metaphorical sense. It does not mean physical combat. It means to strive intensely, to work extremely hard against obstacles, to struggle with determination to achieve a specific goal.
So the father is telling Leo that success demands prolonged, active, and sacrificial effort.
That is it, exactly. And we can expand on the collocations here. For example, sometimes in English, when we describe sustained effort for a noble cause, we use the phrase, fight the good fight.
Or when someone is really dedicated.
If someone is intensely dedicated to overcoming a huge obstacle, they might say, I had to fight tooth and nail to get that promotion. This just shows the intense dedication required.
It is such clear, direct, and highly motivational language. And the second part of Mark's advice is just as crucial.
Yes. Start with what you have, even if it is small.
This is so practical for our English learners.
Absolutely. This sentence teaches resourcefulness and momentum. It is a clear, strong, imperative sentence. It is a command to action.
So instead of waiting for perfect starting capital, a perfect location, or perfect timing,
You utilize your current, often small resources immediately. The listener should practice saying this phrase out loud. Start with what you have. The emphasis is on immediate action, regardless of the size of the resources available.
it connects directly to learning English.
It does. If you're learning English and you only have 15 minutes of quiet time each day, you must start with those 15 minutes. If Leo only had his energy and his idea, he was instructed to use those.
That perfectly sets the foundation of part one. Leo now has his motivation and the central, unforgettable idea that nothing is free.
And that realization pushes him directly into action.
Moving now into the practical application of that wisdom in part two, the first opportunity and proving determination.
Leo thought deeply about his father's words. He realized he needed to use the small resources he had, which was his time and his knowledge of the town.
And he noticed a gap. People in his quiet town loved fresh bread but had to travel miles to a bakery far away.
He saw this as his opportunity.
We call that identifying a market gap, a need in the community that is currently unmet.
Exactly. But the old problem remained. He had no money to buy the bread to start selling. He needed inventory.
So he decided to take a chance. He decided to speak directly to the baker in the next town, Mr. Anderson, whom the source describes as a grumpy old man who rarely trusted anyone.
Difficult person to convince.
Very. And this negotiation leads us to the first crucial verb in this scene, approach.
Can you define approach for us and how Leo uses this concept of approach here?
I can. The verb approach is wonderfully versatile. Physically, it means to come nearer to something or someone, as in the severe weather is approaching the coast.
But here it is more abstract.
Yes, and more importantly in Leo's case, it means to speak to someone, usually to ask for something, to make a request, or to initiate a new business or personal relationship. When you approach a person, you are deliberately initiating communication with a purpose.
So Leo had to summon courage, walk the miles to the bakery, and approach Mr. Anderson directly to present his business deal.
This action shows real initiative.
We can also use the noun form and approach to mean a method or a way of dealing with something. For example, the manager decided to take a new approach to client retention.
And the pronunciation.
Let us practice the pronunciation of the verb approach. 2 syllables with the stress on the second syllable.
Approach.
Leo walked those miles and then had to be very direct about his financial standing with this famously grumpy baker. Leo said, "Mr. Anderson, I want to sell your bread in my town, but I do not have money to buy it up front. Can you trust me for 1 week?"
This is an excellent example of using very specific, practical business English. We must dedicate time to that phrase up front.
What exactly does upfront signify in a financial transaction?
Upfront means paying in advance, or paying before you receive the goods or services. It is the opposite of paying later, paying on credit, or paying when the transaction is complete.
So it refers to a requirement for immediate payment before delivery or work begins.
Precisely. So Mr. Anderson typically requires payment up front for his bread. Leo is asking for a grace period a week to sell the bread and then pay.
Which is a major risk for the baker.
A huge risk. And Leo's request shows clarity and professionalism in identifying his cash flow problem.
This phrase is used heavily in many service industries. If you are hiring a professional, they might require a deposit. You might hear, the building contractor requires 50% of the total fee up front to purchase the necessary materials.
I have heard that before.
Or, in consumer terms, did you have to pay for the theater tickets up front, or can we pay when we arrive?
And the sentence structure he uses is so clear.
It is. Say the full phrase structure for stating this need clearly. I do not have money to buy it up front. It is a concise, professional way to discuss prepaid payments.
Mr. Anderson, rightly so, is highly skeptical. He raises an eyebrow and asks, "And why should I trust you, young man?"
And Leo's reply provides the key to his early success and his character development.
He says, "Because I am determined and I will work hard to prove myself."
Let us start with the key characteristic, the word determined.
It is such an important word.
It is. The adjective determined is essential for understanding the mindset required for entrepreneurship. It means having a strong, fixed intention or commitment to doing something and not allowing anything, especially setbacks, distractions, or fear, to stop you. It signifies firmness of purpose.
We must contrast this with similar words. While determined is very positive, indicating focus, a related word like stubborn often has a negative connotation.
That's a great distinction. Stubborn can suggest someone refuses to change their mind even when they are wrong. Leo is determined in a positive sense.
It is about a goal, not an argument.
Exactly. And we must focus on the accurate pronunciation here. It has 3 clear syllables, which must be distinct. Determined.
Determined.
Let us use it in descriptive sentences emphasizing action. Despite the length and difficulty of the exam, the student was determined to finish every section.
Or
The rescue team was determined to find the lost hiker before nightfall.
we can also use the noun form, right? Determination.
Yes. For example, it took great determination for Leo to walk those miles and face Mr. Anderson. This mindset is what allowed him to take that initial risk.
And he backs up that determination with the promise that he will work hard to prove myself.
This raises an important question. What is the practical use and meaning of the phrase "to prove myself"?
To prove myself means to demonstrate one's ability, worth, or commitment through observable action and results, not just relying on promises or claims.
So Leo is essentially telling the grumpy baker, "You do not have to rely on my promises. I will demonstrate my capability and trustworthiness through my performance and payment."
It is all about earning credibility through performance.
It is entirely about performance. This phrase is used heavily in professional settings, particularly when you are new to a position or seeking a chance.
Like in a job interview.
Exactly. If you are starting a new job, you might tell your supervisor, "I am eager to prove myself to the team by taking the lead on this critical project."
And what about the grammar?
Note the grammatical structure. To prove verb, myself, reflexive pronoun. Here are a couple more examples. After being injured, the athlete was focused on training hard to prove himself ready for the next competition.
Okay.
And the young designer was given a small project to prove herself before being assigned major clients. It emphasizes that the results are the only thing that matters.
Mr. Anderson is clearly impressed by the young man's conviction and agrees to give him bread for 1 week.
And Leo immediately gets to work. He carries the bread back, sets up his small stand, and cleverly offers free samples to attract customers.
By the end of the day, he had sold all the bread and made a small profit. That evening, he returned to Mr. Anderson and paid him back, fulfilling his obligation.
In this moment, the act of paying back the debt is the critical establishment of trust. The old man nodded and said, "You kept your word. Come back tomorrow."
Let us analyze the meaning and weight of that short, powerful, and essential phrase. Kept your word.
This is a phrase that signifies integrity, reliability, and immense personal respect. To keep one's word means to fulfill a promise exactly as it was stated, to do precisely what you said you would do.
It is fundamental to building trust in any business or personal relationship.
It is. Conversely, if you break your word, you break a promise, and trust is severely damaged or lost entirely. When Mr. Anderson said, "You kept your word," he was acknowledging that Leo's performance matched his verbal commitment.
He proved himself.
He did. And we need to make sure our listeners understand the necessary grammar here.
What about it?
We must emphasize the importance of the full phrase, including the possessive adjective. You do not simply say "kept word." You must include your, his, my, our, or their.
Can you give us an example?
Of course. The new CEO is admired because he always keeps his word regarding commitments to the staff.
Okay.
Or, she told me she would help with a fundraiser, and true to form, she kept her word. It is a very high compliment in English.
From then on, Leo worked tirelessly, proving himself every single day. After 2 months, he had saved enough money to buy his first major piece of equipment.
A small cart, making it easier to transport more bread.
Notice the language of efficiency here. Leo is investing his profit back into the business to improve his logistics.
The verb transport simply means to move people or goods from one place to another over a distance.
It sounds very professional.
It is an excellent professional and practical word for talking about logistics or travel. Instead of carrying the bread, which takes time and energy, he can now transport it efficiently.
We use this word constantly in the business world.
Yes. For instance, the global shipping company needed to hire more planes to transport all the emergency medical supplies.
And in a more personal context,
You could ask, do you have a large enough suitcase to transport all the gifts home? It is a clear professional verb pronounced transport.
That concludes the successful second phase of his journey. He started small, used the limited resources he had, worked hard, and earned trust and capital.
Now we transition into a critical stage, part 3, the learning curve and facing competition.
This is where Leo begins to grow not just as a seller, but as an independent businessman.
He is now in a steady routine, selling Mr. Anderson's bread every day, but a customer gives him a truly challenging idea.
Leo should bake his own bread for more profit. This idea excited Leo immensely, but he knew this meant taking a massive risk and conquering a huge learning curve.
The customer's suggestion identifies a key economic concept, increasing the profit margin. If Leo bakes the bread himself, he cuts out the supplier cost, meaning more of the sales revenue becomes profit for him.
This realization pushes him toward independence because he understood that if he could bake his own product, he would no longer have to rely on Mr. Anderson.
That phrase, rely on, is fundamental to his path toward true independence. We need to define and explore this critical phrasal verb.
So let us define rely on for our listeners.
The phrasal verb rely on means to depend on someone or something, especially for support, stability, necessary supplies, or results.
So Leo had been forced to rely on Mr. Anderson for his product. His business stability was dependent upon the baker's willingness to supply him.
To achieve independence, Leo had to remove that reliance. If you become independent, you no longer rely on that person or thing for that specific necessity.
And there is a preposition we always need to use.
Right. We must remember the necessary preposition. We always use the preposition on or upon with this verb. For example, during the power outage, we had to rely on candles for light.
Okay.
Or the investigative journalist cannot rely on the official statement. She needs independent sources.
That is a great example showing the necessity of the preposition.
It is. We can also derive the noun form reliability. If something is reliable, you can rely on it. For instance, the new computer system has excellent reliability.
And the pronunciation.
Pronounce the phrasal verb carefully. Rely on.
Leo shows immense courage and humility by approaching Mr. Anderson again, this time asking to be taught the trade, how to bake.
And Mr. Anderson reacts exactly as a competitive business owner should. He frowned and asked, "Why should I teach you? If you bake, you will not buy from me anymore. That is bad for my business."
Let us first analyze the word frowned.
This verb is purely a description of emotion and facial expression. To frown means to contract or wrinkle your eyebrows.
Usually showing displeasure, annoyance, disagreement, or deep, often negative concentration.
It provides a strong, immediate visual image of Mr. Anderson's mood.
It does. The context tells us Mr. Anderson was clearly displeased by Leo's request because it directly threatened his own financial interests.
Teaching Leo would result in a loss of income for the baker.
And the pronunciation is clear and simple.
Frowned. Notice the ow sound. We might use this word in daily life when someone is unhappy with a decision. For instance, when the waiter informed him that the kitchen was closed, the customer frowned and asked to speak to the manager.
Leo convinces Mr. Anderson by reminding him of the first chance he was given and promising to help out at the bakery in return. The baking lessons began early, at 3 o'clock in the morning.
And at first, Leo struggled terribly. His hands hurt from kneading and his bread came out too hard or too soft.
This struggle is fundamental to the story's theme that nothing is free, especially knowledge. One day, after ruining another batch of bread, Leo sat down, feeling entirely defeated.
Let us look at those two words describing the mistake and the ensuing emotion. First, the mistake. Ruining another batch. We must define the verb ruining.
What does that mean exactly?
The verb ruining means destroying or spoiling something completely, making it unusable, worthless, or incapable of being sold.
In the context of baking, if a batch of bread is ruined, it is a complete failure, a total financial and time loss.
Exactly. And this verb is highly practical for talking about mistakes or accidents in any field. For example, the spilled coffee ruined the important contract documents.
Okay.
Or, in discussing a plan, his sudden change of mind ruined our entire travel itinerary. Pronounce it clearly. Ruining. It is a clear 3-syllable verb.
And the result of that ruined batch led him to feel defeated.
Defeated is a powerful adjective describing a state of mind. It means overcome by failure, having lost a contest or a struggle.
When you feel defeated, you have lost the will or energy to continue. The immediate impulse is to give up.
Right. We use this word to describe emotional exhaustion after a failure. For instance, after failing the entrance exam 3 times, the applicant felt completely defeated.
This emotional struggle connects back perfectly to his father's original quote, "Dreams are not free."
It does. The feeling of defeat is a natural price you pay when pursuing a great dream. But Leo remembered the quote and realized that every mistake, every ruined batch, was teaching him something new. He realized giving up was not an option.
He went back with even more determination. He practiced every single step carefully, focusing on small improvements.
Slowly, his bread started improving. 2 weeks later, Mr. Anderson said, "This is perfect, Leo. You are ready."
Leo was overjoyed. He started baking at home and selling his own product.
And Leo achieved that critical independence. He expanded his products to include cookies and pastries, and customers loved his work.
But as the story wisely teaches, nothing is free, and success always attracts competition.
That is correct. A new bakery opened in the town, run by a young man named Eric. Eric had a big fancy shop with colorful signs and decorations.
Eric was offering a new, flashier experience. People were naturally curious and started buying from him instead of Leo.
And Leo noticed his sales dropping. He felt scared.
We must analyze this specific business phrase thoroughly. Sales dropping.
This phrase is extremely common in business English. Sales refers to the number of goods or services sold, or the revenue gained from them.
And dropping in this context means decreasing, falling, or lowering significantly, often rapidly.
So this means his business is losing volume and money, right?
Precisely. If you hear the phrase sales dropping, it means the business is facing a crisis caused by competitive pressure. It is a professional and clear way to describe a decline in customer purchases or market share.
We can use related phrases to emphasize the severity. For example, the company announced a 30% drop in quarterly sales due to the recession.
I see.
Or, if our sales continue dropping, we will have to adjust our prices. Pronounce it clearly. Sales dropping.
Leo felt that familiar fear and worry about losing everything he had worked so hard for. But the source tells us that instead of panicking, Leo decided to improve his business model.
What is fascinating here is the controlled, rational decision-making process under immense pressure, defined by the phrase, instead of panicking.
Yes, this construction, instead of panicking, defines his emotional strength and business acumen.
Panicking means feeling sudden, overwhelming fear that prevents you from thinking clearly or acting rationally. When people panic, they often make impulsive and serious mistakes.
And the phrase, instead of, introduces a contrasting, alternative, and positive action.
It does. Leo chose to analyze his competition, Eric's shop, and listen carefully to his customers' feedback. This is the opposite of reacting with fear.
This structure is very useful for explaining good crisis management.
We use it when recommending a deliberate, calm action over an emotional reaction. For instance, when the stock market suddenly went down, responsible investors bought more shares instead of panicking and selling all of them.
That is a great example.
Or, when the machine broke, the engineer tried to fix the small part instead of panicking and buying a whole new system. It is an excellent model for rational thought.
He immediately acted with improved determination. He painted his cart, added decorations, and offered free samples of his new pastries.
He even learned how to decorate cakes by watching videos in the library, showing his continuing commitment to earning knowledge.
Slowly, customers returned to him because they trusted his determination and the quality he offered.
Now we are ready for part 4, rebuilding community and the true lesson.
After Leo successfully overcame the flasher competition, months passed. His business grew steadily, and he saved enough money to rent his very own small shop,
which he proudly named Leo's Fresh Bakes. His family helped him run the shop. His sister Sophie loved interacting with customers, and his mother Claire managed the accounts. His journey was going perfectly.
But, as we know from the title of the story, life was not done testing Leo.
One stormy night, a fire started near the oven, damaging much of his equipment, effectively destroying his new business foundation.
This is the ultimate test of his resilience. The townspeople were concerned. Some whispered, maybe this is the end for him.
Leo assessed the damage, and though he felt heartbroken but not defeated.
Let us analyze this profound emotional contrast. Heartbroken but not defeated. This is a beautiful phrase to describe complex human emotion.
It is, because it uses two powerful descriptive words to show balance. Heartbroken means overwhelmingly sad or grieved, usually due to a terrible loss, deep disappointment, or the destruction of something important.
And the fire was a catastrophe, a terrible loss of property and income, justifying the heartbreak.
It was. But the key is the second part, not defeated. This means that although he felt immense sadness, his spirit and his will to continue were completely intact.
He was not ready to surrender his dream.
He refused to give up, even when the loss felt unbearable.
This is an excellent way to describe complex resilience.
We can say, even after his painting was rejected from the major exhibition, the artist was heartbroken but not defeated. He immediately started work on a new canvas. It acknowledged the pain while celebrating the ongoing will to continue.
He took a deep breath, and despite the severity of the damage, he declared, "This is just a challenge. I will face this too. I won't give up."
He calculated how much money he had saved, realized it was far from enough to replace everything, and for a moment fear crept in.
Fear crept in is a wonderful descriptive phrase.
It really is. It uses the verb crept. If fear just appears, it happens suddenly. But if it creeps in, it means it enters slowly, quietly, or subtly, often unnoticed until it has already taken hold in your mind.
It suggests the emotion invaded his mind gradually as he calculated the true, terrible cost of the disaster.
Exactly. Crept is the past tense of to creep. This phrase is very useful for describing any feeling or idea that enters your mind slowly, subtly, and often against your will.
And we can use it for other negative emotions.
Yes, like doubt, suspicion, or fatigue, for example. The longer the detective waited for the evidence, the more suspicion crept in about the witness's story.
Okay.
Or he felt energetic at the start of the marathon, but by mile 20, exhaustion crept in. It is a powerful verb combination for describing gradual emotional change.
Leo, instead of giving in to the fear that was creeping in, acted immediately, maintaining the pattern of rational response we saw earlier.
He went to Mr. Anderson for advice. Mr. Anderson smiled and told him, "Leo, you already know the answer. Work harder, believe in yourself, and people will believe in you too."
Inspired by this wisdom, the wisdom that you must help yourself first, Leo decided to rebuild.
He did not wait for insurance money or loans. He started baking at home again with the little equipment he had left.
And this time, because of his established reputation and determination over the past year, the community responded in kind.
The townspeople, who had admired his courage and seen him fight for his success, came forward to help.
The source material lists specific actions. They donated expensive ingredients, gave small amounts of money they could spare.
And they offered their time to help him clean and repair the bakery. This shows the community returning the effort Leo had put forth.
So why did they help him? The story gives us the exact, beautifully simple answer.
It says, when you work hard and never give up, people notice. They want to help someone who helps themselves. The people admired his commitment.
And what does that powerful verb admired convey in the context of community and business reputation?
To admire means to regard someone or something with respect, approval, or pleasure. The townspeople did not just like Leo, they admired him.
They saw his persistent effort, his struggle against financial difficulty, his refusal to be defeated by the competition,
And his unshakable determination after the fire. They respected him for those qualities.
This admiration was not a gift. It was earned, community capital, built over time through keeping his word and proving himself.
And their admiration translated directly into practical, physical, and financial help. Pronounce it slowly.
Yeah.
Admired.
After months of focused effort, fueled by his own determination and the community's earned support, Leo reopened his bakery.
It was better than ever. The town's mayor came to the grand reopening and said, "Leo, you are a true inspiration. You have shown us all that with determination, anything is possible."
Leo stood in front of the crowd and delivered his final words, which perfectly encapsulate everything we have analyzed today.
He said, "I want to thank each one of you. You have taught me that nothing in life is free, not success, not respect, not love. Everything must be earned with hard work, patience, and persistence."
That final word, persistence, is the culmination of the story.
It is. It means the firm or obstinate continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulty, opposition, or repeated failure. It is the quality that connects determination, the mindset, and hard work, the action.
So when Leo felt defeated after ruining a batch of bread, he relied on his persistence to try again.
Exactly. And when his sales were dropping, he used persistence to revamp his shop. It is the refusal to stop moving forward, no matter the setback.
That brings us to the end of our analysis of Leo's journey. So what does this all mean for you, our listener, specifically regarding your journey in English?
Let us review the 4 main lessons from Leo's story, focusing on the simple, actionable language used.
The story of Leo provides 4 simple, actionable lessons presented in clear, direct English that you can remember easily and apply immediately to your own learning and your life.
First, remember that dreams and goals are not free. They require hard work and sacrifice. You must be prepared to fight for it, using that metaphorical sense of intense striving.
Second, understand that failure is not the end. It is a necessary chance to learn and grow stronger.
Right. If you feel defeated or find yourself ruining another batch, whether that is a batch of bread or a crucial English conversation, you must remember to learn a lesson and get back up.
Third, remember that community support is earned. You must help yourself first and demonstrate determination.
When people see your sustained effort, they will support you and they will admire your work.
And fourth and finally, never give up.
Persistence is the key that unlocks success. Never let the fear that crept in stop your journey. Keep showing up, keep trying, and keep practicing.
That is a perfect synthesis of the narrative and the linguistic goals. We have covered significant linguistic growth in this deep dive.
We have ensured that you, the listener, have practiced clear pronunciation and learned valuable, real-world phrases that are essential for conversation in English.
You now have tools to discuss financial difficulty, using phrases like struggling financially and to make ends meet. You have learned the importance of reputation with kept your word.
And you understand the mindset necessary for success through the words determined and persistence.
Leo's Bakery became more than just a successful business. It became a symbol of hope and resilience for his entire community, a testament to what can be earned through effort.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, what small, practical step can you take today, just like Leo, starting with that first loaf of bread, to prove to yourself that your big dream is possible?
Start small, be absolutely determined, and do not let fear creep in.
Remember, everything good must be earned.
Wonderful words of inspiration. Thank you for guiding us through this amazing story and breaking down the language so clearly, slowly, and practically.
And thank you, our listener, for joining us on this deep dive.
Remember to like, subscribe, and share the English Uncut channel, ensuring you never miss a lesson in practical English. Until next time, keep persisting in your hard work.